Hey there. You know what's more addictive than sugar? Work. Well, not just working, but being the person who works. The achiever, the closer, the inbox slayer. If we're not careful, we don't just do our jobs. We unintentionally become them. I mean, it starts off innocently enough. You get good at something. You get praise, a bonus, a title, some status, maybe some power, some sense of control, and a few hundred people liking your new role update on LinkedIn. You start to feel needed, important, like a somebody. And slowly, maybe without even noticing, you build your entire identity around your work. You go to a dinner party and someone says, "So, what do you do?" And before you even think about it, you respond with your title and what you do at your job. Not who you are, not what you love, just the business card version of yourself. And likely, work isn't the only thing that you do. And think about how this is likely one of the first questions you want to ask someone else, or one of the first things you might want to know about them too. Yikes. Here's the thing. That's not just a conversation starter. That's a warning sign. Psychologists call this identity fusion. When your sense of self is so tied to a group, role, or cause that you lose sight of where you end and the job begins. Research published in Self and Identity shows that when people experience identity fusion, they're more likely to make extreme personal sacrifices for that identity that can eventually become harmful. You know how it goes. Working 70-hour weeks, skipping holidays, getting emails during any major life event and answering them. This isn't just passion. It's a socially approved addiction. And we built a whole system that rewards this. Our brains get a nice hit of dopamine every time we check something off a to-do list. Think emails and chat messages, get praise in a meeting, or hear someone say, "You're the only one who can," fill in the blank. And like any addiction, it creates a cycle. You feel good, then you start to chase more of the thing that made you feel good, and eventually you need more and more just to feel okay. And then you're attached. Whew. And you lose sight of all the other things that are important in your life and the other things that can make you feel good too. You get whacked right out of balance. But here's where it gets, well, a little worse. When your identity is fused with your job, any threat to your work feels like a threat to you as a person on the planet. If the project fails, you've failed. If your company restructures, you don't just lose a role, you lose your sense of self. I mean, who would you be without your job and your title? And this vulnerability, this identity, being attached to something that can be incredibly impermanent, becomes a windstorm that can unground us immediately, emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually. That chronic concern and over-identification alone can be a huge part of the chronic stress that we feel at work, too. And studies from the American Institute of Stress also show that chronic work stress leads to increased risk of heart disease, anxiety, depression, and you guessed it, burnout. But at least you got that team player badge in your performance review. Congrats. Now take it to your cardiologist. Okay, so what do we do? First, let's reframe success. Real success isn't just about being useful to your organization. It's about being whole, complete, being helpful in your role at work, and recognizing that you also play a lot of other roles in your life too, such as mom, dad, daughter, sister, musician, artist, storyteller, runner, best friend, and on and on. You're not a productivity machine. You're a full spectrum human being. Now let's get practical, shall we? Here's how we can start to slowly but surely begin to unhook ourselves from the burnout blueprint and identity work snare. Let's ask some better questions. First, what brings me joy that has nothing to do with performance and nothing to do with my role at work? When do I feel most like myself? Relaxed, easy, and steady. What did I love doing before someone told me I needed to be efficient and effective at it? And I believed them. And yes, it's going to feel weird at first. Like, super weird. Because addiction like this and identity, they don't like to be questioned. But that's why we start small and take one tiny step at a time. Let me give you a challenge. And at first, it might feel weirdly hard. Write down 10 things you enjoy doing that aren't tied to performance, results, or achievement. Now I know some of you just threw your pen across the room in frustration because everything in our culture seems in some way to be tied to some sort of performance. If it's not being tracked, measured, posted, or monetized, It's like it doesn't count. I don't even want to tell you what I used to go through with my ring that tracked my sleep. But that's exactly the point. Let's stop doing that. Let me share a quick example. I love playing the drums. And sure, I do feel a sense of progress when I finally land something tricky like Bonham triplets or an awesome syncopated fill. There's a kind of joy in mastering something. But here's the distinction. I'm not playing to get your approval. I'm not performing for likes or applause. I'm not playing to prove I'm a drummer. I'm not collecting gold stars in some imaginary musical leaderboard either. I just love the feeling of it, the rhythm, the play, the movement. It gets me out of my head and into my body and into something real. And I love doing it with other people too. And that's the distinction. It's not about being someone. It's about being with something. I'm playing because something in me comes alive when I do. It's about being fully in it. And that's the litmus test. The joy is in the doing itself, not in the proving. This is the exact idea psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi unpacked in his classic book, Flow. He said, the happiest people are those who regularly engage in what he called autotelic activities, things we do for their own sake, not for any external reward. In a flow state, you lose track of time. You're not thinking about the outcome, you're in it. And that's where deep joy lives. Not in proving your worth, but in feeling fully present. Just to be. Because even the things we love, like playing music, running, painting, can sneak their way back into performance mode if we let them become our identity. So here's the other test. Do you still love it if no one's watching? And if it never becomes a title or a thing? It's not about being seen doing it well. No one may ever see it. When you find that thing that you can do and never care if anyone sees it, hears it, loves it, likes it, or dislikes it, my friend, you're on the precipice of freedom. And then you're doing it out of pure enjoyment. And that's what we're reclaiming right here. The ability to enjoy without achievement, to express without identity, to play. The reason this matters? So many of us have fused our entire identity with work, with being good at things, being needed, and needing to feel complete outside of ourselves. We've hinged our worth on a truly impermanent entity when it comes to work and a title. If it doesn't lead to recognition, a raise, or a win, we think it's not worth doing. We think we're not worth doing. But if you're always performing, you're never just being. So write that top 10 list. 10 things you love doing just because. Not to get ahead, not to impress anyone, not to optimize your potential, just because they light you up. And then go do one of them this week, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Because your value doesn't come from performance. It comes from presence. And if you're ready to reclaim your identity beyond your job title, grab my guide, Reclaim Your Life from the Brink of Burnout. The link's in the description. It's packed with practical tools to help you reconnect with you, not just your output. And of course, I'm always here for you, so hit subscribe to get more great stuff on how to thrive in the 9 to 5 and beyond. Happy thriving.